My name is Vahid Chitsaz, part of Elite Mastermind Group. Thank you for taking this time and being on our platform. Let's dive into it. Introduce yourself for our audience, please, and let us know where you're coming in from.
All right, my name is Dashama, and I'm in Miami Beach today, and that's it. Do you want me to
I have a little bit of an issue with Florida. Florida is still one of my good friends. He moved down over there for work, so I'm still getting over that. So I'm not a big fan of Florida right now. It's been a couple of months, so me and Florida are having a love-hate relationship at the moment, but I'll be okay. I'm gonna survive. So I'm gonna come to peace with it very, very soon. So I liked everything you said except the Florida part. Let's dive into it. Think and Grow Napoleon Hill. What's been your experience? How are you utilizing in your business?
Well, I read that book when I was 18, so that was almost 19 years ago, and you know, it's powerful because it's the kind of book that will always influence your success. And if you want, I can share kind of like the one thing that I feel it's really carried.
Let's do two things. Let's do two things when you started originally, when you read the book, because it's always fascinating. Every single person has a total different experience when originally they come in contact with the book. So tell us who introduced you to the book, and what were the two things that you got?
Okay, so when I was 18, I had some mentors, and so it was my mentor at the time who introduced me to the book, and it was at a time when I was really looking for, you know, mentorship and guidance, especially in business and to success. And I was in college and I was studying business and international business, and so basically I read the book. And I remember all the parts, but the two that really stuck with me, number one had to do with the transmutation of sexual energy, actually. And that principle, I think that alone has been the key to my success, because I always had a lot of sexual energy. And I think a lot of people maybe have it, but they don't know how to really utilize that power and that energy in order to create something else with it. Because the human body has that in order to create life. So it's like the most powerful energy in the universe, and we have it inside of us. And at the same time, like, how do we harness that power and direct it to something maybe more useful if you don't want to have a child at the moment? So that alone, it really kind of was one of the things that guided me towards part of my path. Like, I teach Tantra, and which is a big part of Kundalini Tantra, is how to really master the sexual energy, and then to be able to maneuver it throughout your body to heal yourself and to have good experiences with your partner. But beyond that, you can actually transmute the energy into your business, into your success, or whatever you're creating. So I feel like that was like one of the biggest takeaways, and that I still use to this day, all the time, like every day.
So give us practical ways of doing it, because everybody has their own take, because of our culture, because of our background, because of society influence. A lot of people, whenever you talk to them, the subject of sex and money are the two subjects that a lot of people run away from. And when they have conversation about, I feel like they're not being authentic about it, because a lot of people want to project what other people want them to be, and that's why we don't talk about it. For example, I see that in financial services, where a lot of people are hurting, meaning they don't have their finances together, they don't have their planning together, but what they project outside is as if, I got everything down, thank you very much, I don't need anybody to teach me, or I don't need a mentor. It's the same thing with the whole concept of sex. So in your opinion, practically the way you go about it is not just not having sex. So explain to us what are a couple of things that an individual can do to harness that power, and how long does it take to kind of master it? Because I don't think it's like an spontaneous thingy where I decide to control it and I have control over it.
Exactly. It's such a powerful force. Like I said, I mean, you can create a life with it. So it's the most powerful energy in the universe. At the same time, yeah, you don't master it in a moment. You know, there's a few different ways. Like, actually, the practices that I teach that are based from thousands of years old practices from India and Kundalini Tantra is actually a lot to do with the breath and the mind. So it's actually a meditation. It's a meditation that you can do with yourself, and there are techniques. There are actually like what we call kriyas, where you combine the meditation and breath in a physical experience with a practice, which means that you're going to do it for 5 to 10 minutes continuously. And so it starts to train the energy to focus it. It's also like how you train your mind. You have to be able to focus it through meditation or different methods. So it's a muscle. It's like a muscle, but it's an energy.
Okay.
But it's like the kind of thing you got to kind of repeatedly, maybe if you can daily, even if it's only 5 minutes a day, but work to, you know, controlling and mastering and like somehow being able to focus and direct the energy. The other thing is with a partner. So that's what I think a lot of people could benefit as well. You could practice this with your partner. Most people, when they come together to have sex with their partner, it's just, you know, it's a very primal experience. So it's almost like you don't even think about what's happening. You just do this and then it's done. Whereas through Tantra, the intention is that you, every moment of it is part of a spiritual meditative experience that you're actually that's happening with your partner. And so it requires a very high level of presence and a high level of, you know, meditation in a way to be able to stay with the breath, stay with the connection, not check out, not thinking about something else, thinking about your business, not thinking about anything, being present in that practice of presence through this experience, whether it's with a partner or just by yourself, is how you strengthen that muscle. And then you can take it and direct it to other endeavors. Like if you're building a business, like that endurance that you got, that you'll build from these types of practices, you can carry that over into your business. Like sometimes you're working on a business project and you're in the middle and you're getting exhausted from the amount of effort that required to like get through to the final part of a business. Maybe it's like building a business or a product, whatever it is. There's an endurance required and there's a focused discipline action that's required to go from the idea to the release of the idea, the launch of the product. And sometimes people give up, get distracted, and that's why a lot of things fail. You know, they say like there's no way you can fail. The only way to fail is giving up. So truthfully, always you'll have success if you can master the focus, discipline, and endurance of getting through the hard part of business. And so it's utilizing that same understanding in your, you know, Kundalini Tantra practice, and then just carrying that into your business, and then also not wasting your sexual energy. So a lot of people waste their sexual energy on porn or just having a lot of unnecessary sexual activity with random partners. A lot of people, especially that men that have a lot of money, or maybe they don't even have money, but they're just doing that a lot, just wasting the sexual energy. And instead you harness that energy, and then that's what Napoleon Hill talked about, transmutation of the energy. So you refocus it, and then you channel it towards something that's going to be more productive and more useful, that will get you to your goals. And, you know, you utilize it. If you're going to have sexual experiences with someone, you utilize it very intentionally. And if you're at a very high level with this, then you actually, your partner is part of this practice, and that you're actually utilizing your time together when you're intimate to make this a practice. And then so every time you're using the sexual energy, it's intentional and it's directed, it's focused, and you're strengthening your ability to master it with every time you're in touch with it, instead of it just being very unconscious and scattered, which is what most people have. Make sense?
So, okay, so I got a few questions for you.
Okay.
How important is it, in your opinion, based on working with chakras and you said focus and breath, and I'm a total believer of that. As a matter of fact, with a few of my buddies, we're working on a specific meditation technique and an app where individuals could definitely use that based on our Sufi master instructions, what we're working with. But here is my question to you. Why is it important for entrepreneurs? Because I know what I was thinking the first time that those words came out of someone's mouth, where they're like, you got to do meditation, you got to control your breath, you got to do this, you got to have alone time, you got to concentrate. I was like, what the heck are you talking about? Let me just go to work. Let me just, you know, do what I need to do. Why would I want to focus on that? Or kind of slow down, put the emergency brakes on, and then say, okay, I need 5 minutes to re-energize myself, or just empty the whole entire, the cup, and then go back and build it up again. Why is that important for entrepreneurs?
Well, okay, we'll just say it's important for everybody, but this specific talk is about Think and Grow Rich, which is entrepreneurial, mostly like audience. So in terms of that specific audience, like I said, when you're not doing that, right, like you said, you're coming from an empty cup. That's one of the foundational things that almost anybody can understand, you get depleted when you're working a lot. So your body naturally has the ability to rejuvenate and kind of restore the storehouse of energy, which we call Kundalini energy. And so the Kundalini energy is where you get your power from. So if you deplete that, it's like you said, operating from an empty cup. You can't be very effective with an empty cup. So it's the understanding that, like, if your gas tank is empty, you need to fill it. When you understand that your body, you know, your gas is coming from Kundalini energy, it's not from your food. That's part of how we kind of started to think that we operate, but actually our energy is energy. It's coming from Kundalini, which is this powerful, powerful force that creates life. That's the true source of your energy. That's a true source of your power. So, you know, to think that if you go have a lunch, you're going to rebuild your energy, it's not true. That's why everybody's reaching for coffee, because they're trying to get some energy. So this is the easiest way to help you understand this. And I think most people can relate. You have a lot of energy in your sexual organs, right? Just if you're just thinking purely on the physical, people are driven by this. This is actually what drives the human species to procreate. And honestly, what drives especially men, but all humans, to create business is actually coming from the desire for procreation. It's very primal. Okay, makes sense? So you want to create
that makes
business.
Clear sense. If it didn't feel good, we wouldn't be doing it, and the human race wouldn't have been here.
Exactly. And you want, mostly men, but people in general want to create business because they want to be able to provide for this hypothetical family, right? So it's really actually all based around this idea of procreation. And that's why it's so primally connected to your sexual energy. Right? So humans are driven by this. Everything in life is driven by this. You want a big house. Why? Why do you want this big house? It's so that you can, on a primal level, provide for your family. It's an interesting kind of almost unconscious driving force. And it's coming from the Kundalini energy. It's coming from the sexual energy. So in order to, you know, really utilize that in the best way possible for your greatest success, you have to master that. And in order to master that, there are certain practices. So this is 5,000-year-old science. I didn't make it up. You know, obviously this came from Kashmir Shaivism and India, and 5,000 years they've been practicing and sharing this. I just happen to be a teacher of it and a student of it because I find it to be very, very powerful and important. But so it makes sense, right? So you have this primal force, you have this energy. Now you have to learn how to connect to it and how to redirect it to be able to make it work for you. You know, it's like leverage. You know, you want your money to work for you. That's why you invest in the stock market or something. You want your energy to work for you. You got to invest into learning how to work with it. And that's what these practices are about. So you're really working with your breath, and you're working with the primal energy, which is within you all the time, and it gets depleted. And this gets depleted for men in a very unique way. Gets depleted from having orgasms. So men who masturbate a lot, this is the biggest waste of your energy you can ever do. You're literally just like dumping your car gasoline on the road. You know what I mean? It's like the biggest waste. So instead, when you get the urge, right, like you're going to have to do something with this. You want to learn how to redirect. So you breathe, and you actually can breathe it back into you. So this is part of the Kundalini Tantra philosophy, and the practice of it is that you can actually breathe it back into you and utilize that to nourish yourself and to fuel the passion and the drive to create your business with that energy instead of wasting it all over the place like most people do. Make sense?
I mean, everything makes sense. The only thing that I haven't heard or was not familiar with, that you could bring it back from that position. Okay, that I didn't know, that you could breathe it back in. Okay, yeah. I didn't.
So this is the primary practice of Tantra.
Because a lot of people try to control it, like subsidize, like don't think about it, like ignore it. But
no,
I
don't ignore it.
To me, yeah, biologically, it doesn't make sense that, you know, you have an issue and then you block it or you ignore it. So yeah. It's a very interesting topic. But going back to Think and Grow Rich, I believe as entrepreneurs, there must be a section of your time that you block out to reflect on what happened, how can I improve, and at the same time, if you don't empty the mind momentarily and reset, I don't think you're going to get the results. Because every entrepreneur that I talk to that is successful in many, many different shapes or forms or ways, they have their own alone time where they're able to reflect on what just happened today or this week or this month and be able to readjust it back. And everybody's got their own form. Some people write it down, they look at it. Some people go into meditation. Some people, they go for a run. Some people, they just lay down in the bed and then after, you know, they just close their eyes before they go to sleep. They reflect on it. So I've seen all kinds, but the main point is you need to create your own routine and you need to find out what works for you and implement that in the business. But a lot of people, I think, because we're so busy, we're not stopping to think that that will have an impact on our business. But if you do it a few times and you get that first result, then you know how important that is. Just the same thing with the sexual urges. Same thing with writing down your goals. Same thing with affirmation. All of these things, the minute you do it one time and you see the result comes, I think that's a confirmation that you're like, whoa, that worked. And that happened to me. I wrote my goals down. It didn't happen for the first 3 years. But then the first time that happened, where I wrote it down and I saw it happening, I was like, whoa, this is dangerous. This is like a weapon. Now I can use this. Now this is like, I was like, why didn't I write it bigger? Why did I limit myself? Why couldn't it be this amount or this thing or even bigger? So the first time that you see results from what you've been doing that you didn't trust 100% to do on daily basis, that's when I think everything clicks and people just go crazy on the book, because then they're like, ooh, this thing works. So
absolutely. I wanted to share the second thing that I really feel that I took away. I mean, obviously every point in the book is just wonderful, and that's why it's one of the best books of the world. But the part about having, you know, he kind of had this team, like it was in his mind in the book. He was talking about his kind of like this round table of masters that he would sit with, and he would envision it, like, because he didn't have these people as his real friends, so he would just visualize like this master, like sitting around and like kind of like being his team, right? And I think that that's the key, is like, really, they say you are the sum to surround yourself with, and like, so really making it a priority to surround yourself with people that are at your level that you want to be at, or higher than that, or at least positive people. Start with that. Most people are around a lot of toxic negativity, and it brings them down, and it also kills their dreams, and they give up on stuff because the people around them aren't that ambitious or motivated or don't believe in them or start putting down their dreams. So really, like, creating your own mastermind is the other thing that I felt was a huge takeaway from that book that stayed with me my whole life. And even if you don't have a mastermind of real humans that you can sit with, that you can visualize those people, and you can, you know, start to bring them into your reality just from the imagination of their existence at your table.
I agree with that 100%. Mastermind groups is one of the key elements of the principles. And I think for a lot of other entrepreneurs, that's one way that they can shortcut in their business, by learning from wise people and smarter people than themselves, to be able to achieve those level of success that they have, and learn from their role models. So I definitely agree with that. And that's what one of the smart people that, you know, a very, very successful individuals that I met yesterday, we were in a meeting, and he said the same thing, that, you know, I'm not intimidated by anyone, because if they have done it, I'm capable of doing it too. So if they did it, I can do it. If they can do it, I can do it. But the second part to that conversation was that, you know, I respect men or any individual that can do it better than me, because I want to go get, you know, I want to sit by their foot, and I want to learn by them. And once I learn, then I want to teach other people. So it's like a cycle of going back and forth. So it's like you become a go-giver versus a go-getter. So here you're observing, but there you're giving it back. So it's just running through you. And that's how you get a fulfillment. For most of us, we get a fulfillment in life, that we're able to help another human being by just our experience and knowledge. So they don't need to go through all the turbulences and challenge. They're going to go through their own new challenges, but at least they could avoid the ones that we experience. So Mastermind group, it's a definite big plus. Listen, I want to thank you for being and taking the time today, being here from Florida. Hopefully you'll move your city, you'll go to a different state. Next time we'll have this conversation, so I won't get on your case about Florida. But I want to thank you for spending this time, and hopefully we'll do this more often.
Yeah, thank you. It's so beautiful. Have a great day.
Take care. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.